welcome to a video on how to try to sound like Hendrix in 15 minutes or less. Yes, it's pretty much impossible, but this trick will help get you there. So we're going to practice rhythm style, right? So Hendrix, one of his awesomest attributes is his rhythm playing. I mean, when you think about it, died at 27, I think, could just write songs, lyrics, solo like a madman, and his rhythm style was insane. So how do you get all that in 15 minutes? Well, you can't. But we can give you tricks on the Little Wing, Bold as Love, Wind Cries Mary sound. How do you do that? Well, it's knowing what to play over the major chords that he uses and the minor chords that he uses. And there's a couple tricks, and if you use those tricks, you'll be shocked how easy it is to get yourself on the path to sounding more like Hendrix. Okay, so let's take the chords where the root note is on the E string. So, A chord. Take this shape, and on the E, A, and D strings, right? So, say this is the 7th fret, right? Well, it is. If you use 7 and 9 on the E, A, and D strings, right? And this works for any major chord, E string version. You can use okay? So you can use these notes to start creating a melody. Right, so a simple example would be to slide 7 to 9 on the E, do a hammer on 7 to 9 on the A, and then you're hitting your root note on the D. Now you can do the same thing, hit the notes a different way. So on that one, I just went and then rolled over, and then did the exact same thing, two strings lower. Sorry, I'm just slurring like I'm hammered. Okay, so we got that in itself, awesome. Now when you do double stops, right, so you have these groups of 2 notes stacked right on top of each other. So you can take the A string and the D string, 7th fret, hammer on A string, 9th fret, and you get that cool sound, okay? It's called a double stop. So when you combine the double stops with the single notes, you're even one step closer, okay? And that's where all the magic is. Now, it's also how you attack the notes, right? So if you notice, I'm hitting some of the strings harder. Dynamics is what it's called. All right, so that helps a lot too. Okay, so that's the lower strings. What about the higher strings? Well, if you look at this chord shape, you can slide up a whole step. Okay, so on the B and E strings, I can slide from 5 to 7, back to 5. That also gives me these cool things. Okay, so I can do that. I can do that same trick with the double stop. Right, so I'm taking the 5th fret, hammering on to the 7th fret of the B while letting 5th fret of the E go. I can also hammer into the 3rd. So this is the 3rd of our chord. I can take the note, the 5th fret on the B, and hammer into that 3rd. So it'd be the 5th fret. I go here. So think of like a D chord shape, right? You can hammer into that 3rd. So if you put those tricks together, sometimes you can make it 2 notes, 1, 2, or a quick hammer, right, where you're not really hearing the first note so much, it's more the second. Or, so you got, or, Okay, so that's another way. So when you combine that together with the A chord, remember it's the E string version of the A chord, with the root notes on the E string, you have, here's our root note, the A note. Right, so really work with the major chord. Get that down. That's going to work on almost every example when there's a major chord. If you notice in the progression I did, it was A, B minor, C sharp minor, and then D. And when I got to the D, I did the same trick as I did on the A, the major chords. Okay, so in between that, there was minor chords. In the beginning, I went from A major to B minor. What do you do in the B minor chord? Well, in this one, think of when you're playing, pentatonic. If you find the root note on the E string, that's also where your position 1 pentatonic would be, minor pentatonic. So the easiest thing is just to play out of that shape. I'm doing the same thing, so, and it works up until the B string. Sometimes the notes on the E string don't quite fit with the scale, but you're safe if you go down to the B string. Okay, so you can do the same tricks, single notes, or the double stops. Okay, so that's basically position 1 minor pentatonic anytime you have a minor chord from the E string down, where your root note's on the E string. So B minor. Back to our A, major. That will definitely pass for sounding like Hendrix. And those are the E string versions, right? So when I combined all that together, if I think of the major tricks, the major chord tricks, and the minor chord tricks, you can totally come up with. Okay, so what if we got a major chord on the A string down? Let me pick a different chord because the A chord is going to be hard to give an example on. So say we're taking a D major chord. Okay. On the A string, it's the exact same thing and it's a major shape, right? So the root note is on the A string. We're making that chord, right? It's the exact same thing we did on the E string. You have exact same thing, okay? Now, if it's a minor shape and you're familiar with position 4 in minor pentatonic, so let's take D minor. We're going to stay in the same spot. If you think of position 4 being underneath your fingers, which would be, you get, right? You can, so you have notes like that. So say our progression, we'll do from D to E minor. Same kind of thing we did up here. Exact same tricks, right? You just have to know basically what pentatonic shape is underneath your fingers, whether it's a major or a minor chord. And as a general rule, that's gonna work, okay? So 9 times out of 10, you'll be safe. If it's a major chord progression and you use the major, or a major chord and you use the major trick, it'll work. If it's a minor chord, it'll work too. So no matter what the chord progression is, it'll work if you use those 2 tricks. And if you want to get in deeper, I've done more videos on it, but I relate it all to the pentatonic scale. And when you see how it fits underneath the major chords and the minor chords using the pentatonic scale, then you can chain them all together and it's like, oh my gosh, that's it. Right? So let's go over one more time. So we'll go back to our A. Quick little trick on the thumb thing. I get this a lot. My hands aren't big. I can't do the thumb thing. My hands aren't big either. And I can do the thumb thing. And I couldn't at one time. The trick to the thumb is a lot of people go flat with it and then try to do it. And that automatically puts your hand in kind of an interesting shape. If you shift more to the side of your thumb, remember, you only have to get one note. So if you shift a little bit more over on the side, look at what it does to your hand. It gives you more access, right? Versus trying to keep it flat. See, and my palm's in a weird position. So remember, try doing it on the side of your thumb. Okay, so we got. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, by all means, share the videos with your friends. Always check down in the description box below. Oftentimes, there's videos that are not on YouTube down there. There's the website if you want to go in deep with my kind of teaching style. There's the website, all that stuff. Oftentimes, there's scale diagrams to help you out. So always check down in the description spot below for some links. Thank you guys so much for the continued support. You're awesome. If you got any comments, feel free. Leave them down below. Bad or good. You know, I like constructive criticism too. And keep it real, people. Be nice to each other. Be sweet. Big musical hugs, even if you disagree. Don't be fighting. Use that fight in your guitar. Just angst. Take it out. If you hate the video, you're like, that freaking sucked. I hate that video. Just take it out on your guitar and make something awesome. Constructively use your angst, and I swear it'll pay off in the end. You guys are amazing. We'll catch you next time.